All right, how's it going, my magnificent sons of bitches? And I've been off and on Twitter doing shit around the house. Uh, and for the most part, all day today, I seen off and on come upon my Twitter feed was Project 2025. And I think it's hilarious because everybody on the left is panicking about it. They're trying to make this a real issue. Not to mention that they're going to be running with the more Russiagate bullshit in the coming weeks. And I know that nobody is going to be able to see the shit because, unfortunately, for that mainstream media, they have no idea what the fuck y'all people are doing. But for the most part, is this on my YouTube? As a matter of fact, I got to be a little bit careful whenever I'm on YouTube. But I find it funny that everybody in Silicon Valley, all these people on X, all the people that are probably some of the people that run Facebook and a lot of the people that run YouTube are kind of freaking the fuck out because of Project 2025. Now, this is an ultra based, uh, to a degree, it has a lot of religious overtones. And like I said, even some of my Christian contemporaries are kind of afraid of it for the most part. Me, myself, as a Christian, I kind of, well, it's like I've already said. I've said this from the beginning, and I think that the people that were essentially what you would consider the culture war, these motherfuckers are not the culture war. There's no culture war going on. If you think that Steven Crowder and uh, you know, what's the other guy's name? The one Russell Brand. If you think that these people are the ones that are fighting the culture war, you're 110% wrong. That war was already won with the election of Donald Trump, with guys like us coming out doing videos exposing the emails of Hillary Clinton, doing a lot of these obscure stories, whether it be the Mina connection, whether it be the Arkansas blood scandal. You had a lot of people, and that's including the shit with Ukraine, the stuff that they're finally getting up to right now, was all over YouTube at one point in time. Whenever YouTube was more center, it was YouTube. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't CommieTube or whatever the fuck it is right now. When they started to go ahead and arbitrarily kick content creators off the platform for nothing more than exposing and putting a light on to some degree of truth. And ultimately, whenever this happened, whenever this went down, all of a sudden they started platforms like Facebook, platforms like Twitter. Obama had passed that HR 5181, which ultimately went ahead and took all of these social media platforms and put them all under the umbrella of the State Department. And that's exactly what ended up happening. The State Department, the state is never going to produce any real quality. You understand what I'm saying? You look at it right now, and I go down my feed on Facebook, and it's just mundane, boring. There's no real, it's like status quo, monotonous and stuff. I've even gotten tired of watching people making fun of, leftist media shills, because the leftist media shills are never going to, they're never going to deviate from their shit, and they're saying the stupid, and it gets to be too monotonous, and it's, there's not really a lot of, uh, I guess, innovation going on right now in any of these channels. There's no real going on to the next thing, evolving into the next thing. And you look at the products right now, and the products are absolutely shit. You look at Disney right now with their Madam Web. Who the fuck is going to want to sit there and talk about Madam Web? And even if you fucking do a fucking video on Madam Web and talk about how ultra fucking girl boss it is, who really wants to see that video? You know what I'm saying? I'm not interested in seeing a Madam Web video. I'm not interested in seeing a Marvels video. These things don't appeal to me whatsoever. And it's just like the sports right now. Who wants to sit there and see a video about Taylor Swift and, Travis Cleese? Nobody wants to see that shit that's a sports fan. Now you've got them all running off doing monotonous, generic ass um, mock draft videos, and it's generic looking. So this is where the left has cut their own throats because nobody right now is going to get behind any more of these wedge issues. And mind you, it's not only just a leftist thing, it's the right too. They're not solving any problems. This fucking government isn't solving any problems. They just create problems. You go ahead and take the old commie, and from personal experience, you know what I'm saying? From personal experience in my work, I've seen the effects of the shit. And I know that if I seen the shit in real life, in real time, with my own eyeballs, right? Everybody else at that motherfucker has seen the shit too. They may not say it out loud, but they see the shit. Whenever you have these platforms like YouTube, like Facebook, like Twitter, and now, Twitter, at least they could sit there and say, well, Elon's bought us. We're not owned. We're not falling under the same thing. We're now a free speech platform. We've migrated. And a lot of those motherfuckers have went underground. Still doesn't mean that they're not held completely fucking liable to all the lies, slanders, and bullshit that they've put on American people, especially with their agendas and propaganda, whenever we're looking at how they're trying to go ahead and take away unalienable rights. And what's the one thing that I said here, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on X, wherever the hell it is, what did I say would happen? Whenever they started pushing that 2020 bullshit that they decided they were going to push, I said, you're going to drive everybody completely to the fucking right. You're going to make everybody migrate. That pendulum is going to swing to the radical left. That's everybody's racist, bigoted, homophobe, LGBTQ, women's rights, to where it's going to gravitate and it's going to go radically right into a theocracy. And I've been saying that shit for years now. And if I probably went back on my first channel, I've probably been saying it for years. This is that, they're going to keep on pushing everybody to the right. So you get a piece of shit like Obama, he was a diversity hire for a president for the most part. The only reason he got the job is because they were going to, and mind you that Obama didn't, his administration wasn't completely shit. He did some good things and I've given him credit for it. However, for the most part, the only reason that motherfucker got a job was because they knew that they were going to be able to go ahead and pass that Affordable Health Care Act that was anything but affordable, that ended up hitting the premiums of 193 million Americans or hit them with tax penalties. And, for what? To subsidize 22 million? That's how the fucking government works. You understand what I'm saying right now? The government makes everything generic, dumbed down to the lowest common denominator, and they have no solutions. They're not in the business of solutions. They're in the business of creating a problem and then pointing at the problem and saying that's a problem that you didn't create, that they created, and then say we need to go ahead and tax you for the same shit that we just created. That's how the government works at the end of the damn day. So now we got a policy coming up, and it is an extremely right policy. It's going to definitely piss off a lot of leftists. But at the end of the day, what did I tell you? Whenever you started pushing that commie cough bullshit, I said, you can't run with this bullshit forever. And eventually it's going to catch up with you. Guess what? 2025, it's going to catch up with you. 2024, it's going to catch up with you. Because whenever you look at in real life, like I said, you can't even fathom, you can't take anything at value on these social media platforms anymore. Back in 2016, back in 2017, back in 2018, you could use them as an honest metric, an honest algorithm, because there was more people trafficking these sites. But now, since the traffic on these sites are so low, they have no idea where the hell anybody is right now. So whenever I go out and I hear motherfuckers out there that you would have never heard ever, and you thought you would ever hear, saying that they're going to go out and vote for Trump, well, y'all are in for a hell of a shock, and it's going to be a culture shock. And you leftist LGBTQ plus motherfuckers need to go ahead and realize that nobody's afraid of you calling us bigots and homophobes and xenophobes and all these other phobes anymore. You've killed that. You've killed your credibility. You understand what I'm saying? And so when we look at where we're at right now, everybody's Alexander Ocasio-Cortez is out there, trying to sit there and fearmonger. But the only thing is that you've already used these wedge issues so much that nobody's going to buy into the shit anymore. Nobody's going to fall for it no more. You've killed your credibility. And I don't give a shit if you're a fucking administrator at one of these social media sites that have went ahead and hit me with multiple flags and multiple strikes. I don't care if you're one of these people on the mainstream media, the most trusted name in news, your motherfuckers. At the end of the day, you knew this shit was going to come. You knew it was going to come. YouTubers out there that you've had banned from these platforms said that if you keep going down this road, you're not going to like what you're going to get. And now you're there. You're right there at election 2024, whenever Donald Trump wins, because you got to understand right now, at this point in time, the state has no credibility whatsoever. And in fact, I would say even back in 2016, 2017, whenever the reason why Donald Trump won the election is because the state doesn't have any credibility. So they had already lost a lot of their credibility way before the 2024 election, or way before the 2020 election. They didn't have any credibility. They lost that credibility, and you could tell that they lost that credibility in 2016. Now, here ends up being the issue is that they have to create issues. You know what I'm saying? And then off of those issues, they have to get a metric off of it. This is how politics is done today, right now in 2020 and 2024. They have to create that issue and then use that issue to justify putting whoever the fuck they're going to try to put into office. So by running a negative media cycle on Donald Trump 24 hours a day, they could justify putting in Joe Biden because they can get, it was just nonstop negative media on Donald Trump where people would, claim, where he would get like less and less support. Well, overwhelmingly 74 million people turned out to vote for the motherfucker. And we understand that this doesn't make any sense how a Joe Biden could have won with 81 million votes. It doesn't make any sense at all. And the only reason that they could use to justify going ahead and rigging this election, this last election, the 2020 election for Joe Biden was because of all the little polls that they had out there where they could sit there and say, well, he got negative reactions here, he got negative, he fed some Chinese fish and killed them, or whatever the hell they would sit there and say. And each one of those metrics they use to go ahead and justify putting in Joe Biden. But they can't do that anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because those metrics are not working out in their favor neither. So you get a wedge issue that they're going to put out, right? And the thing is, I'm not voting. So for me, it doesn't matter, but I already know who's going to win. It's a foregone conclusion who's going to win. Donald Trump is going to win. And if the left would have at least put up, if the left would have migrated, if the radicalized progressive would have migrated more to the center to see that people were getting outraged, and then they would have put up a Tulsi Gabbard or somebody, they possibly could have went ahead and saved what is left of their party. You understand what I'm saying? Their party would have possibly survived if they would have migrated more to the. Tulsi Gabbard understood that she had to migrate to the center to go ahead and save her political career. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure Donald Trump wins in 2024 election. And I mean, like I said, it's not going to take that much. It's already a foregone conclusion. You look at what he's doing to Nikki Haley right now, and if the liberal movement was as because they've already tried. You're not running, like Donald Trump isn't just running against Nikki Haley in these primaries. He already beat her by, Donald Trump already won with like 1% of the vote in in South Carolina, and it's already a foregone conclusion who the Republican nominee is going to be. And there's no doubt that there's nobody right now. The left has just totally killed their credibility. They've killed their credibility, and they're not going to ever get it back. It's the party's essentially dead. And like I said, you go on Twitter. So they're trying to push this little narrative. It's the Project 2025. Project 2025. Are they going to do it? Are they going to run with it? I don't know. I can't tell you honestly. I'm not going to put a lot of confidence in the Republicans of actually running with it for sure, because you really can't trust the Republicans. They say one thing and do another. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't neither. It's just one of those things. They may try to implement it in small, they may not. But I can guarantee you that they'll be able to get Agenda 2025 passed a hell of a lot quicker than Obama tried to get that Trans-Pacific Partnership passed. The shit that the Democrats are doing, it's going to be a non-starter. We could tell that with the Joe Biden administration. They're just not going to be able to do anything. They're not going to be able to go ahead and reason getting this motherfucker into office. It's not going to happen. It's going to be Donald Trump, and it's going to be probably by a landslide. And the Republicans are going to win because nobody cares about abortion. Give me one good argument that people who are pro-choice are going to make, other than it's a clump of fucking cells. Because you got 11 forms of birth control. You know what I'm saying? And if I go ahead and were to give you, if I were to give the abortion, right, in the case of rape or incest, in the case of it being a medical issue, I would go ahead and say, okay, well, abortion should be allowed, but not at a Planned Parenthood. It should still be done at a medical facility. That's still not going to be enough for them. You know what I'm saying? It's still not going to be enough for them at all. They want recreational, what I call recreational abortion, because what the fuck it is. And they don't have any real arguments to justify that being as big of an issue as they would like it to be. Because you have all these forms of birth control. Like I said, you have 11 forms. You need to practice some personal responsibility. That's not an issue that you're going to win with. You're not going to be able to go out there and say you're going to protect a woman's rights, because it's not a right. Abortion is not a right. It's not a fundamental right. And, you're never going to be pleased. You're never going to be satisfied with other forms of birth control or being allowed to use that shit. So it's a non-starter for me. It's not an issue that you can run on legitimately as a platform. You can try, and other motherfuckers will sit there and tear you apart on it all day long, like they do on Twitter. All the gun control shit. You already know that's a non-starter. This Inflatable Reduction Act. A lot of your shit that you're talking about on the economy, we know is a fucking lie. We know it's a lie. So you're not going to run on your record. You're not going to run on gun control. These gun control, these gay ops, psyops that you do. People call them gay ops. People call them psyops. Whatever the fuck you want to call them. They're not effective anymore, because you've already hit that dummy button way too many times. So now you have to go ahead and justify your platform. The Republicans are, with their little, and they have psyops too, which the border is one of them. I guarantee you all our migration is coming from fucking California. However, there are so many people out there right now that are, we have a border crisis, where they're like wanting to fucking put up like, North Korea style barbed wire fences on our southern border and whatnot, and make it look like, fucking North Korea type shit. That's what the Republicans are pulling for, but they're getting more people involved. I think I just watched Steven Crowder a little bit while I was like doing dishes or something, was listening to some of his show while I was getting some shit done. And He was saying that Gen Z is more conservative right now. And one of the biggest issues is that border issue. That they're all, yeah, it's a psyop. You and I know it's a psyop. But it's a wedge issue that the fucking Republicans run on. And I guarantee you that more people are talking about that in reality, not on, not on these little spaces of media network bullshit that nobody's really talking about. Nobody's talking about any of the shit that goes on in the news because nobody watches the news. Bullshit. Damn phones falling out and shit. But nobody's watching the shit anymore. Nobody cares about what's going on mainstream media bullshit at all. And so whenever you look at the Project 25, whenever you look at fucking Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, yeah, they probably are. But whenever you look at, and I changed my name on Facebook, by the way, I went ahead, I say everybody, before go ahead and get ahead of that Russian narrative and just, go to Google Translate and then let's all put Russian names up there. Really fucking troll the fuck out of the fucking State Department to say, we're not buying your shit anymore. But none of them have any real solutions on how to fix any problems. All it is wedge issues. All it is these fucking fake ass media bullshit, the climate change or the border crisis or whatever the fuck it is on one side or the other. They're not going to solve any real problems. But with that being said, you look at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and she's getting like 1.8 million views on her shit. And she's talking about the dangers of Agenda 2025. Let me go ahead and make something perfectly fucking clear. That 1.8 million people that come across your shit is less than 1%. It's like 0.55% of the fucking population that's coming across and gives a fuck about what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez thinks about Agenda 2025. And that's not only just Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. You go ahead and look at Agenda 2025 as a whole on X, right? See where it's trending. It's like 20,000 tweets and retweets and all the mentions and shit. It's only 20,000. Or like 21, 22, 23,000, I think, right now. It's not that much. So you're not winning any fan support. You're not winning any crowd support whenever we're talking about Agenda 2025. And what I'm telling you right now is that the influence for media all over every fucking platform is absolutely fucking dead. Occupy Democrats, all of their fucking platforms are dead. And it was killed because whenever you use something like HR 5181, like you did to get rid of people like me, and various other motherfuckers that you use to go ahead and get rid of here on the internet, well, this is exactly what ends up happening. You have no more traffic, so nobody's there to buy your shit anymore, your propaganda. But I guarantee you that there's more influence on talk radio and word of mouth for the Republicans. So the Democrats already lost the culture war. The culture war is over. All these fucking goofs that are on the Young Turks, or Kyle Kulinski on Secular Talks, or fucking David Pacman, where they're saying, oh, I'm so tired of culture wars. I'm so tired of you already lost the culture wars. There's no more culture wars. That time has already passed. You're looking at influence at this point in time. It's an influence war, and you're getting your ass kicked, absolutely crushed by the Republicans right now. And I guarantee you, whether I vote or not, it's not going to really matter. Doesn't matter if I say, you know what, maybe we shouldn't do this whole fucking theocracy thing. Doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what I think. All that matters is who has the most influence right now. I'm not going to jump on board because you created the fucking mess. I can't. What traffic am I going to get on here? I got 6 viewers. I got Travis. I got Maxwell Bleemont. Those. What kind of fucking influence do I have, even if I wanted to go ahead and say, oh, well, this shit is fucking over the top, batshit crazy? I don't have that influence anymore. You took down my original YouTube channel. You took down my original Facebook channel, which between them, I probably had like pretty close to fucking 5,000 subscribers or friends or whatnot. You took down like 6 of my damn Twitter accounts at 500 apiece. Whenever I get to about 500, that's it. We're going to go ahead and delete your account. You're talking too much. So, I mean, yeah, where the hell am I going to get any? So y'all motherfuckers are in this shit on your own. And you think they're going to come and look for me? Do you think that they're going to come? Do you think that the fucking right is going to fucking coalesce and say, hey, you know what? We need to go ahead and get rid of the prodigal. Fuck no, they're not going to do that shit. Absolutely not. They're going to start. They're going to start with the left. Now, maybe eventually they'll get to my ass. They'll try and hunt me down. But you know, by that point in time, y'all are going to be an afterthought. Yeah. HR 5717 fails. And like I said, everything that they really pushed at the end of the day with these House bills and shit have done fuck all, except put you in the situation that you're in right now. Oh, yeah, your HR 5736 with the media propaganda. Guess what? Y'all motherfuckers are going to have to answer for that. Eventually. You didn't think you would, but you know what? It's getting pretty close to about that time. You know, your HR 5181, which you went ahead and decided that you were going to get rid of the voice of reason here that could have sit there and countered you. And mind you, that you can't rely on ignorance anymore. You can't rely on that shit because there was enough people out there during all these pandemics, during all these psychological operations that you were trying to run. There were so many people out there saying that, you know, if you print all this stimulus money out, it's going to cause hyperinflation. It's going to cause stagflation. It's going to cause all these fucking inflations, and it's going to eventually end up attacking our dollar and driving us deeper and deeper into debt, causing financial crisis. Guess what? You went ahead, called us conspiracy theorists. You went ahead, said that we were fascist. You went ahead and called us Nazis. You went ahead and called us racist, bigots, and homophobes. Now you have no more ammo. You've used all your ammo. You've expended every ounce of your fucking ammo on the left. So you're vulnerable. We know exactly where the fuck you are. You're on all these social media accounts. I guarantee you, you know, people have access to your information anywhere, you know. So we're coming to that point to where, you know, society's going to demand action at some point in fucking time. And like I said, you can't plead ignorance. Now I know Ben Shapiro will be the first motherfucker to come out there with this little, you know, smug ass. Don't attribute to malice what you can contribute to ignorance or whatever the fuck that he says. But you're not going to be able to use that anymore. Neither will Ben. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be able to use these excuses anymore because there were too many people out there telling you this. So you knew what you were doing were wrong. And there was more than enough motherfuckers out there to come out here and tell you that you were wrong. So anyways, yeah, I just wanted to come out, do a really, really quick video on this HR the Project 2025 by the Heritage Foundation. All it really needs to happen is that Trump needs to get into office and that the Republicans need to take over, which I'm sure that they will do overwhelmingly. And I think that there's a good possibility, but I wouldn't count on it myself, but there's a good possibility that this could very well be passed. And most of society is not going to fight it. The general public is not going to fight it because of all the issues that we've had with the LGBTQ for over the years, with all these riots, looting, using of these various groups, these, you know, radicalized groups that they've been using since Obama. A lot of people have had enough, and it's time for a change. And that's exactly what's going to end up happening with this Project 2025. You motherfuckers better get some sort of morality. You know, y'all motherfuckers are going to have to start acting right, and y'all are going to have to start following laws and shit. Because a lot of that shit is going to go to the right. Because the right hasn't totally 110% killed off all their credibility and whatnot. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. You people tell me what you think. You like, follow, friend, subscribe, do the shit the internet tells me to do to get over. And for now, I'm out.